Afternoon, everyone. Well, I've got a couple of stories to catch up on and some news stories that I haven't talked about yet to touch on because I've been behind. I've been doing climate change research and dealing with mic issues. So hopefully we're back on track. It seems like we're back on track. I feel like we're back on track. So this picture in the original link has a big, this whole gray area here is all a picture of the terrorist. Unbelievable. Global news. Unbelievable. I removed it because I didn't want to see it. There's also, if you go to the link and you look at this for yourself, I've removed it with my ad blocker as well. But this is a picture, if you pause it, of the terrorist as well. And he's looking all pitiful and awful and stuff. But I do not feel sorry for piece of garbage terrorists. Is that clear enough for you, global news? There's not anything you can put in these images here that's going to make me feel bad for piece of garbage terrorists who fight against Canada. You got it? I'm not sure if we're being clear enough. Canadians don't tolerate terrorists. So your attempt to spin this, oh, poor terrorist woman, I just want to go back to Canada, for a guy who was actively recruiting Canadian children into ISIS, through social media, through Instagram and all sorts of other, whatever, Facebook and whatever mediums, Twitter, and was a fighter, was an Islamic fighter. So he's killed people. I just want to go back. I'm so done because we lost the war. You crybaby loser. Unbelievable. It makes me so frustrated. So this global news sometimes puts in good reports. I don't know who Stuart Bell is, and I don't particularly care, but the apologist or the attempts to apologize for these terrorists are falling on deaf ears. I don't give a rat's ass. I don't care. And I'm not going to go down here for a picture. This is the video. I'm just going to show you that he's bald. Piece of garbage. Okay, so it says, 4 years ago, the Canadian was a defiant voice of the so-called Islamic State, using his social media accounts to spread beheading photos, threats, and incitement messages to English-speaking audiences. But now he looks defeated. I'm just tired of everything. And I'm not going to read any more because he's a piece of trash terrorist and he doesn't deserve any time and he doesn't deserve to have his face plastered all over the news. Period. Garbage. He should be, if he's brought to Canada, he should be thrown in prison and never heard from again. And his wife or whatever should be sent back to her home country. And if that's Canada, she should have a cell right beside him. And if it's wherever in the Middle East, then they get to deal with her and their children however they want. Bye. Not our problem. There is no excuse for terrorists to bring their wives back to Canada. In what crazy world does that make any kind of sense? Oh, in this crazy world. So this guy is crazy and believes that Canada should bring back the wives and children of ISIS fighters. No, sorry, I completely disagree. And again, this is global news going for getting the talking points out there. So people can say, oh, but winter's coming, everything's going to be cold. So what? Send them back to their families in whatever countries they came from. And if their countries have terrorist laws, then their countries will deal with them as they see fit. And the children will go back to families or to wherever children go in those situations. Just like in Canada, how we have a child and family services. If a Canadian child was brought home and was rendered parentless, right? There's an agency for that. Those people should be dealt with in that way. Not brought to Canada and attempted to shoehorn into our society. Like, are you seeing this? Hijabs everywhere. This is insanity. This is not the Canada that I grew up in, period. This is unbelievable. And the hand-wringing about how to deal with terrorists is just, it must be manufactured. Nobody can be collectively that stupid. Here is an article from Germany that says, quote, 2 Islamic State wives returned to Germany with their children. The 2 women and their 3 children were allowed to return from northern Iraq and will not be arrested. German federal prosecutors say the request for a warrant was denied by the federal Supreme Court. I have to question, I've written this on Twitter a few times, how do you declare war when your government has been infiltrated and weaponized against the people? How do you get out of that? And anybody who tries to fight that is Tommy Robbins. right? You get labeled alt-right, you get labeled racist, you get labeled InfoWars, you get labeled crazy, you get demonetized and then deplatformed, no Patreon for you, no YouTube or Facebook, no nothing for you. How do you fight back against this insidious demon that's infiltrating our governments? They're sending their nationals to pretend to be Canadians and then run in our elections and usurp our power. And then courts say, no, you have to bring the wives back. You have to bring, and no, they're not going to get arrested. Yeah, they're terrorists. Sure, they're terrorists. We can all agree that they're terrorists, but they're not going to get arrested. Why? Because we can't prove it. We don't know what they did when they were there. Who knows? They're weaponizing our own laws against us, and they're using the slow churn of justice to our detriment. They will delay and delay and delay. Look at Brexit. They're showing us what their strategy is, and their strategy is they're going to wait till we die. That's what they're going to do. They're just going to push these people here, and then when we die or are too old to fight, then they take over. It's that simple. This is a war. It's so frustrating to watch. Here is how Chinese gangs are laundering drug money through Vancouver real estate. And I've heard that these are the triads. So there's a Reddit comment, and I'll read the comment. The triads have infiltrated Canada's economy so deeply that the Australian intelligence community has coined a new term for the innovative method of drug trafficking and money laundering now occurring in BC. It's called the Vancouver method, or transnational crime. Criminal syndicates to control chemical factories in China's booming Guangdong province are shipping narcotics, including fentanyl, to Vancouver, washing the drug sales in British Columbia's casino and high-end real estate, and transferring the laundered funds back to Chinese factories to repeat this cycle again and again and again. Remember those 42 kilograms, the WMD level amounts of fentanyl found in Toronto? Remember that? Most people don't really remember or care, but that happened in the recent past, and that's wild. That's crazy. So maybe Vancouver's funding it, and maybe the Canadian soft on crime blindly giving Vancouver away to China, because that's what we're doing, is not working out so great for Canada. Maybe. Seems kind of crazy. This is a CBC article talking about, and it's all, okay, it says it was like a nightmare. Police investigate fire started at Toronto hotel housing refugees. And apparently there was a gas can lit on fire and some graffiti and whatever. But I wanted to highlight this article because the article says, Immigration Minister Ahmed Hassan was unavailable for interview, but in a statement to The Current, his office wrote, quote, "It's not uncommon for governments or a service provider organization to use temporary accommodations such as hotel rooms to house refugees." And I thought, man, I wonder if there's other examples of that in like, G7 countries. Not the United States, but, other G7 countries. And I don't know why this menu is not refusing. Okay, there we go. Anyway, here it is from Germany. It says Germany set to house refugees in hotels long-term, and this is February 2nd, 2016. Look to our future, Canada. If we don't start telling people, if we don't start talking about this to the people who are in charge, they are going to keep doing this because they are going to say, nobody said they didn't want it. I don't want this. Okay, back to the article. Due to a lack of space, Berlin is looking at alternative means of housing refugees, with German media reporting that Angela Merkel's government is negotiating a multi-year contract worth some $600 million with hotel chains. This is to house refugees. Why are we not taking care of our citizens? What is going on? Why is the world crazy? This is a different story. Owner of the trucking company involved in the Humboldt Broncos bus crash charged. I wonder with what? The owner of the Calgary-based trucking company involved in the deadly Humboldt Broncos crash has been charged, Alberta's transportation minister revealed Wednesday, and Mr. Singh is his name. The owner of the trucking company faces 8 counts of non-compliance with federal and provincial safety regulations over a 6-month period. Each charge carries a penalty of $310 to $5,000. So we take all those lies really seriously. Hashtag Humboldt strong, right? But don't worry about it, Mr. Singh. You'll just have some fines. You'll just have some fines for that. No problem. No problem. I was saying earlier that people are Chinese nationals and others, Islamic Muslim Brotherhood nationals, are infiltrating our political system. That is something I truly believe. Here's an article that talks about that. It says it's from the Richmond News. update. Richmond RCMP investigates alleged vote buying on Chinese app. So the Richmond RCMP have stepped in to investigate accusations that 2 posts on Chinese social media, WeChat, about this year's multiple municipal elections are crossing the line into vote buying. According to the screenshot, the Canadian How Friendship Society asked its members to vote for certain candidates in the coming election, and offered a $20 transportation subsidy with a private 347-member WeChat group last Saturday. To encourage people to take part in the municipal elections, the Canada WeHo Friendship Society gave transportation subsidy of $20 for those who vote this year, said the post. Please actively participate in voting and supporting Chinese Canadians to take part in politics. The post went on to ask people to vote for Richmond mayoral candidate Hung Gao, incumbent councillor Chak O, and council candidate Peter Liu, and Melissa Zhang, and other Chinese candidates in Vancouver and Burnaby. So this is happening, and at one point, upstanding people in society would utilize their societal connections to have political power. And that was generally, somebody was a good guy because they were well known in the community and all this other stuff. And at this point, we're mass importing other cultures who have a whole other language, and they're coordinating vote buying. And most, I'll use old stock as made popular by Stephen Harper. Most old stock born in Canada Canadians are too busy between work and picking children up to be engaged in local politics. Most people don't even have time to watch videos, like to even be up on what's happening, right? So being engaged in politics is something that is a luxury these days, and something that is not done by most people because it gets people angry. But we're losing our politics, guys. We're losing our democracy. It's being usurped. It's being usurped by China. It's being usurped by the Muslim Brotherhood. It's being usurped by voting blocs that do not agree with how we have been raised in Canada. We've been a Western country since Confederation, since we were Canada. So it seems silly to continue to turn a blind eye to what we're doing, because we're doing it fast, really fast. It seems crazy. So get engaged. Call your MP. That's your member of parliament. He works for you. Do you want to spend more taxpayer money to house refugees in hotels? Do you want it to be long term? Call them, message them, talk to them, find out what they think about it. peoplespartyofcanada.ca. Check it out. Thanks for watching.